Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Glenn Anything. There he is, Glenn Ambrose.
Live from Florida.
Oh yeah. We gotta get rid of the opening in the background for now.
Yeah.
For now.
Wah, wah, wah.
That's all right. Well, I'm excited to have you back stateside for now. How does that feel being home? If you guys haven't seen, I don't know if you posted it on the Glenn Ambrose Life Coaching page, but there she is. Hey, Faith.
She can't hear you.
Well, all right. Well,
Faithy.
Faith, your dog is in the background, and that is incredible for all of us.
Yeah, so all the fans love Faith, I think.
Absolutely.
There she is.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Oh, her eyes are so red in here.
Yeah,
one of them is.
One of them. Her blue one.
Yeah. That's incredible. All right, so you guys know the drill. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them down in the chat. Or if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can always send them into glenn@glennambrose.com. Yeah, so how do you feel being back home for a little bit?
Good. It's, I really fell in love with the DR. So when it was time to come back, it was a couple of days where I noticed there was some thoughts going through my head that were like, oh, I don't want to leave. I like it here. So after I noticed those, it wasn't a big deal, but after I noticed those thoughts a couple of times, I was like, that's probably not a healthy way to be looking at things. I mean,
yeah.
So I just stopped and I was like, what's a healthy way to look at this? Like, how should I be looking at it? It's like, there's things for me in the States. I mean, my son's there, my dog is there, my family is there, my friends are there, this is kind of a big deal to be going. And then as soon as I kind of put some consciousness onto that, I was like, yeah, then I got excited to go back. So I was like, it kind of feels like I went on vacation like 2 months ago. And then from there, I went on vacation to visit all my friends and family, so it's kind of like I'm going from one vacation to another. And then next month I'll go on another vacation to the DR.
And that one you're gonna stay for a while. So
probably, unless I go on vacation to like Costa Rica or something, so it's, it's just, I think I got my first taste of, well, not my first taste, but a deeper taste of what is meant by when they say, create a life that you don't need a vacation from. That's what I want. I don't want to suffer, 50 weeks of the year and then take a vacation for 2 weeks to recuperate. Like, that's no way to live.
Isn't that a line in the Jason Mraz song that I told you about when we first met?
I think so, yes.
Living in the moment. There's no need to take a vacation when there's nothing to escape from.
Yes.
Nice Savage Race shirt, says Christopher.
Yeah, and, Chris took me to this Savage Race.
And Sarah says, hi, Glenn and Ben.
Hey, Sarah. Sarah's trying to help me figure out how to get my dog over there. That's turning into being an issue. The more I look into it, it's crazy what this one company wants to charge me $2,000 to ship my dog over on a 2-hour flight. It's like, come on.
Wow.
But anywho.
All right. So if you guys have questions, put them in the chat wherever you're watching this, or send an email to glenn@glennambrose.com. Obviously, if you're not listening to this or watching this live, you can do that every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. But leave a comment or send an email to glenn@glennambrose.com and ask your question, and we'll answer it next week. Our first question tonight is from an email. Hi, Glenn. I have a question for your Ask Glenn Anything show, which I am a big fan of. How do I stay present? How do I stay in the present, appreciating my current life with my husband and son, who I love, rather than keep thinking back to times with my ex? I miss feeling beautiful and young. I am so grateful for my family and feel guilty that sometimes this life just isn't enough. Please help me to live in the present and with gratitude.
I mean, it's a good question.
Big question.
Big question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it and I was like, damn, I don't know if I can do that one on air. But, then I'm like,
this might be the whole episode. Go ahead.
So I'm like, that I have to do it like everything. Just, don't plan, throw it right on my lap in the moment and see what channels through. So, yeah, I was looking at that question. I mean, I think, as usual, a lot of it is the answer is partially given in the question. It's like, live in the moment and be grateful for what you have. So, that's the easy answer, but, I'll try to dive into the more difficult one. And I'm just going to kind of glance at the question as I do this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you got to appreciate what you have, and I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that there's a large portion of this person that really does love their husband and son. Otherwise, they wouldn't be asking a question. But it's thinking back to times with your ex. I mean, yeah, I could do some serious individual work with this person, but a lot of times, I got to generalize because I don't know the specifics, but a lot of times, we think back to our ex, and it's like I learned something in recovery. We have difficulty remembering emotional pain, and that's for a reason. There's a defense mechanism there. This is why they say, like, a lot of addicts and alcoholics will continue drinking, because, you hit these moments of remorse going, oh my God, I'm never going to drink again. I'm destroying my life. This is horrible, blah, 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 blah. And then, 2 days later, you're drinking again. It's like you have to let go of the emotional past to be able to move on, continuing to do things. So there's a defense mechanism in us that it's difficult to bring up the full extent of the emotional trauma that we're in. So, like, what we're doing in this case, what it sounds like is a romanticizing of the past. That person is your ex for a reason. And that's the piece that we leave out. Oh, I felt young and I felt beautiful and it was so romantic. Yeah. Those were the good pieces. What were the bad pieces? Why isn't this person in your life anymore? And it doesn't really matter what the answer is, because I mean, this person could have been a jerk. They could have been incapable of being in a relationship. It could have been their fault. It could have been your fault. It doesn't really matter what the answer is. The truth is there's a reason why it didn't work out. And we can't just throw that aside and remember only the good. If you're going to remember, assess it fairly. There was problems there, So, and like I said, it doesn't really matter whose fault it was. It just matters that you guys it didn't work out for a reason. So, you weren't supposed to build a life with that person. You're supposed to build a life with the person that you built a life with, So, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. It's, like I said, when it comes to dating, a lot of times people forget the most important parts of dating. They forget the most important parts of a relationship. They look at it and they go, well, they were attractive. We had amazing sex. We had fun. We did a lot of activities. I felt really comfortable with them. And those are all wonderful things to have in a relationship, but they're not the foundational things that you can create a life out of. You know, so like one of the most obvious things that people gloss right over is the fact that it didn't work out. So that they'll be like, oh, well, you know, he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to be in a relationship. Maybe he is now. Yeah, but he wasn't ready. Like, that's gigantic. You can have the most wonderful person in the world and like how you guys connect. And if that person isn't capable of being in a relationship, then it doesn't matter the rest. It doesn't matter. That's a deal breaker. You know, if one of the two is incapable of being in a relationship, that's a deal breaker because you can't be in a relationship. And we're talking about a relationship. That's like saying, you know, I know everything about driving a car except actually doing it. Well, that's kind of a big deal. You know, like, so this is what we have to keep in mind. So, you know, some of the reason that it ended is probably gigantic as far as when you take that piece, because it was big enough to end a relationship. So that's a pretty big deal. So you can't gloss over that and pretend that this life with this other person was amazing when it was incapable of giving you what you wanted. Like, namely, I don't know, a family, you know, a child. Those are kind of big things. You can't gloss over that. You have to remember that relationship didn't give you that, you know, and you really value this. You really value your husband. That's there for you every day. You actually value your child and that you have this child. Those are big things. You can't just, you know, be like, oh yeah, but that was better. No, they didn't have the things that are most important to you. So I think there might be one other piece before I drop this. Yeah, thinking back to time, miss feeling beautiful and young, you know, yeah, that's just a perception issue. So like, you know, that comes from within. Feeling good about yourself comes from within. Nobody gives you that. You know, like, people are mirrors of us. So if you feel more beautiful around somebody because of the way that they're treating you, or younger, that's just because they're a good mirror for those assets of yours. You're actually beautiful and young within. We're happy. We're beautiful. Beauty comes from within. You know, the real beauty that shines through. You can have somebody that's absolutely beautiful. If they're like miserable inside, it literally detracts from their physical beauty, for one, and nobody wants to be around them, for two. So that's it's an issue. But that life force flowing through you, feeling young and stuff like that, that doesn't come from outside. That didn't come from being in a relationship with somebody. They were just good mirrors for you. So what's important is our self-love, feeling beautiful, feeling youthful. All that stuff comes from within. So you have access to that. And if you were temporarily getting exposed to that by a mirror outside of yourself called another man, you can't count on that. That's temporary. It's fleeting. You know, when you have it coming from inside yourself, that's when you can count on it. You know, I mean, I'm the youngest 52-year-old out there, right? Ben, you always tell me I'm like in my 30s.
Yeah, for sure. You're younger, wilder, and crazier than I am by far.
yeah, and I like to say my immaturity level helps. You know, I'm very immature, so that's helpful. That keeps me young.
There you go. That does help. Yeah. So I was gonna ask about that. So specifically, like, if there's something about like our needs too, right? I would assume, like, if there's something about what you felt before that you're not, where you're like not getting an emotional need met maybe with your partner, then what about like the line of communication there? You know, like if the reason you felt young and beautiful with an ex is because like you guys did things that made you feel good, like activities, like you went out and dancing and stuff, like is it appropriate to just have that conversation and be like, hey, I'd like to go do these things because it's going to make me feel better, and maybe
Yeah.
it's not the partner at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can have a conversation like that at some point, but one, you know, you got to be careful with a conversation like that because, you know, hey, you know, I used to really feel good about myself when I was with my ex, and I don't feel like that with you.
How about
So,
what about not bringing up the ex
yeah.
part?
How about my ex used to take me skating? So, will you take me skating like he did? Wow, that would go poorly.
What if no? But what if you're like, hey, I really
Let's
like
go
to go
skating.
skating. Yeah.
I used to skate. I used to like that. Yeah, no, yes, I would definitely approach it that way. But I think really, like I always say, all work is self-work. So can you have a conversation like that? Yes, but I think it's down the road. I think you need to work on yourself first, because otherwise you're just going to try to replace a dysfunctional mirror for your present dysfunctional mirror. You know, like if you really want to change your life and you want this to be a non-issue, you need to do the work on yourself that's causing you to feel that way. And that is going to take a little time. You need to work through this stuff. You need to find self-love. You need to anchor in, you know, we have to be, somebody else doesn't complete us. You know, this is not a Jerry Maguire movie. It's life. And we are supposed to complete ourselves. And when we are happy, and then we're with a partner that can be a good mirror for us, more happiness is reflected back to us when we're with that partner. But we have to really do the work on ourselves. And that's what I think is missing in this. You know, down the road, you know, once you do the work and, you know, maybe you want to start doing some things that make you feel alive again. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and doing them with your partner might be a good idea too. So, but yeah, I think the feeling I'm getting is this is 95% self-work. So to focus on that, shift, you know, how you're viewing situations, don't romanticize the past, work on yourself, become happy, become peaceful within, and have your son and your husband mirror that back to you. And once you're in that good space, then if you go, you know what, skating was fun, then skating will be an expression of the love that you found within you, instead of you know, a replacement for an emptiness that you feel inside you that's only going to temporarily work for one night. Then you're going to be like, well, skating wasn't the same because I'm not 22 and it's not with Bobby. You know, like so, you know, do the deep work, really shift it inside of you. And then maybe down the road, you can, you know, tweak some activities.
I had a great conversation yesterday with our mutual friend Jason about the phrase curse the wind or set the sails.
Yeah.
And I just would love to hear your take. Like one of the things, it got dark quick right here right now.
Yeah, it did.
I'm going to go inside during this question. So anyway, we had a conversation about curse the wind or set the sails. Can you, I personally, this is my question. I've had a lot of issues fighting against the wind and not going with the flow. So can you, and I feel like it's pretty on topic with what we were just talking about. Can you cover that a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's a matter of, yeah, we don't have control over the winds. You know, we have to focus on what we have control over. We have control over setting the sails. So it's like, yeah, if we take responsibility for our lives and understand that, you know, this is a co-creation thing to me. It's like the power that really moves the boat is from the wind, and we don't have any control over that. And I think that that is really the way. There's a flow to life, and we don't have control over the flow to life, but we can set the sails, and that really directs where our life goes. So it's a dichotomy, just like everything in spirituality, where, you know, in one, it seems like it's contradictory. Like, oh, you don't have any control over your life, but you have complete control over your life. Well, that's kind of how it is. You know, we're not the power that makes things happen, but we can control the direction. And I think, you know, my life was a good example of that. I mean, you know, for 20 years, I directed my sails into problem after problem after problem after problem. I couldn't get out of my own way. And then for the last 17, I've been directing it where my life is consistently getting better. And, you know, but I'm not doing it. Like I'm not, you know, I'm not creating all the good stuff. That power is flowing through. I'm just directing it, you know, towards things that seem right. And often I'm looking at what I'm being pushed towards. You know, a lot of times I'm being pushed towards a certain thing. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go over here. Oh, I guess I'll go to the DR for a while. Why? I don't know. It seems like it's a cool place. And somebody just got put in my path that's there, and I have a connection, and okay, I guess I'll try that. And then I go try it, and it's like, oh my God, this is perfect for me. That's how, you know, so I have to participate, and I have to direct the sales, and I have to book the plane ticket, and I have to find the place to stay. But all those things play out. Even the place I stayed was perfect. Like, people there were like, how'd you find this place? And I was like, oh, I just found it on Airbnb. And they're like, wow. And you've never been to the DR before and you found this place? I was like, yeah. And they're like, and I said, I've never even traveled internationally before. They're like, what? And you found this place? Like, how the heck did you do that? And it's like, I don't know. I just kind of paid attention and went where I was guided, whatever seemed right, you know? So yeah, we can direct the sales, I think. Well, I know we can because for 20 years I didn't. And then for 20 years I did, or 17 I did. So, and I got different results because of that. So yeah, I don't know if that's what you wanted out of that, but.
No, it's completely what I want. Like, I love some of my favorite shows that we've done are about going with the flow. And I love hearing you talk about it because, I mean, one of your, if not your main thing, well, no, your main thing definitely right now has been slow down. I think that we joked a couple weeks ago that we were going to change the name of the podcast to Slow Down with Glut Ambrose.
Yeah. Your mic's louder now.
I switched computers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's pretty loud.
Sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, we but you, Chad Morrison has a great question. We're going to get to that in a second. But you always talk about how suffering is the resistance to what is, right? You're not and so that's
perfect. You know, I think that's to adjust the sails, and it's this situation. It's, you know, really embracing the situation. Stop resisting the reality of where you are. Like there's no time machine. Like, you know, it doesn't exist. So thinking that the past was better, you know, I mean, just for the sake of argument, let's just say it was. Well, it ain't there no more. So, you know, like thinking about it is really a waste of time, you know, and embracing the reality of what is. I mean, you know, like it sounds like this person has a husband. She didn't say anything negative about him, so I'm assuming he's a good guy, and she's got a child. And I'm guessing she's got internet connection because she's emailing me. She's probably not trying to figure out where her next meal is going to come from. So, you know, it's like, I don't know. You probably got a really good life there that people would give an arm and a leg for, and you're busy missing it while you're looking at something that doesn't exist. You know, so it's just really, yeah, doing the inner work and anchoring into that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Chad,
can you turn that down a little bit? Like when your mic?
I don't know.
It's like when you say something, it like blasts my ears.
Does this make any difference?
I don't know.
Did that make any difference for you?
No.
It shouldn't have.
All right.
It shouldn't have changed.
No, I don't think it did. So yeah, just I guess maybe talk soft. We'll be fine. It's not that bad. It's just like when you get excited about something, I get a blast.
Listen, I'll stop getting excited. Chad Morrison says, "What is the cure for cabin fever?"
And you know, I'm so curious because I haven't had time to read this. I want to read what Lisa said before I go to that.
Yes.
So Lisa, same way I feel between USA and Hungary. On bad days, I wanted to be in the USA, but have had to cancel 2 trips back after not seeing my family and friends there in 4 years. Life is a journey. I wish we could travel and travel and travel and have experiences that just continue to fill a soul. Best not to own anything. Costs a lot to ship anything over. We must live in the moment. Yeah, I agree with all that. And you know, I mean, for the people who like traveling, there's not one way of life that works for everybody. But boy, now that I'm traveling a little bit, I can understand why people love it. You know, so yeah. I agree with all that, Lisa.
Me too. Also, you're not going to know this if you just listen to this, but her question was so large and took up so much of the screen that I used the time to do a wardrobe change.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I love your conversations with Lisa back and forth on the show every Thursday about traveling.
Well, that's Sarah.
No. Lisa has commented the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, she has last couple of weeks. That's true.
Yeah.
So what is the cure for cabin fever?
Yeah, Chad.
Getting out of the house. I mean, there is some of that. I mean, really, like a lot of times there is, you know, there's stuff we could do. I mean, when I was here in Florida, it's like, you know, I went on a bike ride every day. Like I didn't, you know, you can do that you can do that, you know, in most situations. Even when you're shut in a house, go for a walk, go out. Nature is a great thing for cabin fever, you know? So it's like, I mean, I think going out in nature, going for a walk, connect, and especially grounding if you can. One thing I did over there that helped me dramatically, and I did it right before this podcast, because I have to ground like every day now. So like I went outside out in my backyard with bare feet and just stood there while Faith chased a gecko. And I would just got some fresh air, like Sarah said, and just bare feet into the earth and just grounded. I mean, that's very helpful. But like get out and do stuff, even if it's alone. And, you know, you got interact. There is so many ways nowadays. Talk to people on Zoom. You know, if you're talking about cabin fever with the pandemic stuff and you're worried about that, then wear a mask and go sit 6 feet apart and with one other person, and then switch it up every 2 weeks and meet with 2 other people, or like figure it out. You know, like there are so many things we can do that we take for granted that we don't do, you know, and it's so just look for the solution. If you put your mind to like, what can I do, and start thinking outside the box and think very simply to what you can do. I can go for a walk. I can stand on my porch. I can sit on my porch in the fresh air. I can talk to people on Zoom. I can talk to people on the phone. I can, you know, meet up with one person every 2 weeks. Whatever you can do whatever you can do where you're at. And I think that, that we have to do that in every area in life. Just if you're looking to, that's for cabin fever, but if you're looking to change your life, do that. Like, if you're stuck in your house, figure out how to not be stuck in your house. Like, I don't know what that looks like for that person. Maybe it looks like a career change. Maybe you should look into starting an online business. Oh, that's a big thing. Yeah. And it starts with one step. Like I ran into somebody who found out I was a life coach yesterday. I was getting my some dental work done. And they're like, no way, you're a life coach? Really? Yeah. They're interested in being a life coach. So I talked with them about it for a few minutes. And while I was getting the dental work done, I was thinking, and I was like, this person, was like, wow, you've been doing it full time for 8 years. Holy cow. And I was thinking, like, in 7 years, I'll be doing it for 15 years. And in 7 years, she could have been doing it for 5 years if she starts now. If you start researching, what certification should I get? What should I get a sub-certification? What is my business plan going to look like? How am I going to get clients? And you just start researching things and taking it one step at a time. You can be a life coach in a year or two. And then you can work online. And then you can travel all over the world and live wherever you want. And the world, I wish I was smart enough to have planned all this, but I'm not. But what I did do was lean into whatever I wanted to do. I wanted to be a life coach. So I leaned into it and I started researching, and I found it, and I asked around, and I said, hey, what's a good certification? I found one. I looked into it and it seemed like the right one. So I got it. And then, you were like, hey, you should do a podcast. Oh, okay. So I did a podcast. It's one step at a time, and what you need is given to you. But you have to just keep taking those steps and following the breadcrumbs, and you'll get to wherever you want to get.
Do you remember 3 years ago? So we were 3 years or more into the podcast. But 3 years ago, you and I and Dave sat down in my living room at the old house, and we went out to lunch, and we had a conversation about what you wanted to do, because nobody ever asks you. So we had a conversation about the things that you wanted to do. We literally made a list, and we were like, okay, how can we make this stuff happen with the podcast and stuff? And if you look at that list now, 8 of the 10 things on it are done.
Wow. See,
you know what I mean?
And I never would have known that. I don't even remember.
You moved to Florida. You wrote a book. You have an international audience on the podcast, which you already had, but it's grown more. You have traveled and are gonna live out of the country.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? You literally 3 years ago were like, I want to sit on a beach and just help people all day, but then in my downtime, sit on a beach with my dog. And that's gonna be you know what I mean? But it's those things that you talked about that you just did, the little steps and following, and not everything works all the time, but
no, most of the time it doesn't.
But you're still there.
Right. And in a short period, I know it blows my mind because in my world, it doesn't seem like it's going that quickly, because I have times of second guessing myself and going, oh, geez, I'm not happy. Why am I not happy? I've been on this path for so long. What do I need to do? And I go through all those times just like everybody else. And it's but then I look back and I go, 8 years really isn't that long. And I've, opened up my own life enhancement center, and then fine-tuned my business to what only brought me joy, and then moved to Florida. And then, yeah, it's all the stuff, every 2 years, like my life has completely drastically changed for the better, you know? So it's like, it's really amazing. And what's cool is this is a thing about manifesting that people try so hard. People try so hard to manifest, and that's exactly what stops it. Because when you're trying to manifest, you're reinforcing the fact that you don't have it. So the fact that I made that list and then completely forgot about it, that's why it manifested. Manifesting is assuming it's already done, not worrying about it every time, not sitting there doing affirmations 4 times a day going, I will have my own business. I will have my own business. No, you're trying to make it happen. We don't make anything happen. We are just the sails. The wind makes it happen. So stop trying to be the wind and start trying to be the sail. You know, direct things. Don't try to make everything happen. So there.
Sarah said yes, 100%. She also said it's better that you didn't plan it, the unfolding.
It's unfolding better this way.
Jumping back a little bit, Kimberly said travel is life. Ground yourself in the grass at the beach. Deidre said last week, my son said, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm so irritated, almost angry. What can I do, Mom? Take a trip, I said, always works for me. He's in Miami now. I was thinking like a day trip.
Yeah, and Deidre is over in the DR where I just came from.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So, and her son does like video and social media marketing and stuff like that. So I guess he's over there. Now he's over here in Miami. So, hey, you know, but, you know, Deidre, you get, you know, and she's got her own business. So it's like it's actually kind of cool what I think she touched on, because, you know, if you look at Deidre, she's from the United States, but she's been living in the DR for many years. And now all of a sudden her son, geez, you know, I'm irritated. What can I do? Oh, take a trip. And what does he do? He goes to Miami on a huge trip and such. But that's what was modeled for him. You know, that's what he saw through Deidre. You know, that's what he saw. So, which is wonderful. And I'm starting to see it with my son. You know, it's like now that he's older, it's, you know, I'm sitting there going, yeah, I think I'm gonna go to the DR. And he's like, yeah, all right. You know, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. Maybe I'll get an apartment here in Florida. Maybe I'll go back to Rhode Island. Maybe I'll come to the DR. But he's calm about it. Like, he's not panicking. Other people are panicking. Oh my God, what's your son gonna do? Like, my son's fine, man. Like, you know, he's seen me make all these big moves and these big decisions and these big changes, and we're fine. You know, we're absolutely fine. We got to think outside the box. We're a little bit too closed-minded and conditioned because of the safety we're seeking. We think if we have a stable place and a stable income that we're going to be safe. I was just talking to this guy from Scotland, I believe, that just bought this food truck over here near where I live, and the food is awesome. And so I always go over there. And I was talking to him, and this guy's had a very interesting life. But what he was talking about is, like, he was very successful in his career early on. And then he started looking for safety and really anchoring down, and bought a bunch of property in the mainland and Florida. And all of it went to hell and he bought it looking to anchor down and have some safety and really live responsibly. So you buy land, you buy houses in, you know, Sarasota, Bradenton, Florida. That's about as safe as you're going to get. Nope. Lost all of it from you know, prices plummeting. So we're seeing all this stuff with the pandemic. There is no safety where you seek it. What you think brings you safety doesn't bring you safety. So expand your mind, think outside the box, and do what you want. You know, I don't mind if I die with nothing. I'm cool with that. But I do want to come sliding in sideways with my hair on fire doing $110. you know, going, that was an amazing ride. That's how I want to slide in. You know, I want to live this life.
It's so great to teach your children you're not a tree. If you don't like where you are, move. Love that saying.
Yes.
Trust, says Sarah.
Yeah, trust. We have to trust ourselves. And my opinion is we have to trust our source. You know, our wind. Trust your wind. Know that the wind is going to continue blowing. But that's it. And yourself to direct it. If you trust the power that flows and yourself, the rest is fine. You're going to be fine. That's where you meet your safety. It's not in stock options. It's not in a house. It's not with 2.3 kids or a white picket fence or a dog named Spot. There's no safety in any of that stuff. You know, I always tell people, like in relationships, you have to trust yourself. I could meet the most wonderful woman in the world and fall in love and just have this beautiful relationship and then build a home and just everything's perfect. And then all of a sudden she wakes up one day and she goes, I just had an epiphany. I have to move to the Himalayas, sit in a cave and meditate until I die. I have to. If I don't, my soul will never be fulfilled. Oh, all right. Well, you know, like, what am I going to do? There is no safety in anything external to us. So trust yourself, trust the power that's greater than you, that makes the wind blow. And we're going to be fine. And then just enjoy it, man. Like, enjoy life. This is too short of a ride to just squander seeking safety where there is none. Go enjoy it.
I have one final question for you, Glenn.
Okay.
Did you miss your golf tee that you hold in your hand and play with during shows?
No, I didn't. I just played with something else. And no, it was funny. Right before we started, I got a new like USB 4-way splitter.
Yeah.
And when I was out there, I had bought, yes, but I had bought something and it came with this little thing, plastic piece. And I played with this thing when I was in the DR when we were talking. And I left it in the DR because it's a stupid piece of plastic. So I left it there. And then all of a sudden we're about to start. And this is our first recording. And 5 minutes before, I found another one. I'm like, look at this. Wherever I am, I'm supported with something to play with. The universe is so kind to me. I left my little toy in the DR and it sent me another one in the United States. Thank you.
Well, if you guys have more questions, you can always send them over to Glenn@glennambrose.com and we will answer them next week. Thank you so much for joining for joining Glenn. If you want more information about this, you can message Glenn wherever it is that you're listening to or watching this. And you can check out all of his podcasts as well. There's almost 200 of them now, wherever you're listening or watching to this as well. Thanks, man. I'm glad to have you back for a short time on the States side. My pleasure. So, yeah, I think that'll do it for tonight. Thanks for the welcome back, everybody. And I guess we'll talk to you soon. I'm gonna play the outro one more time just cause we played the intro. We did.